Chapter 8, Part 3. There was a table of pies set out for the first off judging, and if it had been cherry time, Granny Height likely enough would have won without much argument. But her dried apple pie took only second. Aretha Annabel's sugar-crusted preserved plum pie took first. "These plums are from a little old tree growing on a ridge," said Aretha, her worn fingers caressing the bit of blue ribbon unbelievingly. "I reckon fightin' real hard for its livin' gave that fruit something extry." "I've thought along those lines somewhat," agreed Granny. Aretha's victory was a stunning surprise for the Hollow, but Aretha explained that she and her girls had practiced for 3 days and nights, getting their hand in to do it. The pace picked up. A whirlwind race at goose plucking was won by the Pilatskys, though there were many contestants and feathers hung in the trees like snow. Churning went to the Tidneys. Tuck Annabel howled at the two decisions, but was hushed by Scott Poundstone, the many-chinned auctioneer from Fitchville who was chief judge. Corn husk dolls were twirled into shape by every youngster of the Hollow who was under 12. Deborah Vasey won that after a lively tussle. Asa Annabel cried for disappointment, while her pa roared robbery. Scott Poundstone warned Tuck that he'd have to pipe down or be heaved out. Tuck swallowed and breathed hard. There was Trinkly Dulcimer playing, which Lee McLeese captured, and old-time fiddling, in which nobody had a chance against Link Yockey, especially after he put those dry snake rattles in his fiddle box. But at jug blowing, which Chairman Tuck Annabel insisted was also music, Ararat Annabel was crowned the champion. Then the talent show really rolled up its sleeves. Gideon Lee won the hog calling. Tuckaleech Annabel was only second. Tuck's neck went red and his neck muscles began to bulge, and with each look at the truck they bulged bigger. Bide Beckett at the forge set up under the trees took 2 square bolts, heated and hammered them into 2 round links of a plow chain. Calipers run around the rings couldn't show where their ends joined. That seemed to settle the smithing, but to the complete dumbfoundment of all, Clate Annabel, Tuck's eldest, stepped forward. Clate had always been considered a little soft in the head, but here came Clate lugging a rusty plowshare that Bide recognized. It had been dragged out of his own junk heap. This while other contests went on, Clate fired, hammered, chilled, and wetted. He bolted it to a hickory beam with handles that felt had been hewing with a draw knife. Together they hooked beam and plowshare to the Annabel's mule and yelled for Tuckaleech, their pa. And Tuck Annabel, bellowing for everybody to clear the way, whooped at a mule and drove a huge furrow with 4 neat corners right around the meeting grounds. Nobody in the holler had dreamed Tuck could lay a furrow that true, but there it was, clean and deep, and he went around again and laid open another, the pair of them as even as tines of a fork. "Beat that if you dast," shouted Tuck. 1 or 2 tried, none succeeded. "Blacksmithing and plowing to the Annabels," proclaimed Scott Poundstone. Shingle riving was next. "Lay to it, son," charged Tuckaleech, and Ararat Annabel did put up a furious battle, swinging maul on frow and knocking 8-sided cedar chunks into fragrant slices that flew through the air. But Beech Trevitt edged him out, 240 to 233 in 10 minutes. Ararat almost tore into Beech with his fists. "Lemme by," ordered Felton Annabel, striding for the log chopping with a long-handled double-bit axe that he could have shaved with. At that gleaming steel on Felt's shoulder, the crowd sensed what was coming. When the choppers were lined up to a log, "Go!" cried Poundstone. Felt, reaching for the sky and bringing down with a flash and ring, was through a butt of shuddering chestnut before Hub Trevitt and Ob Hake and Jim Hardy had much more than warmed up. There was hog skinning, which Hake Hardy lifted from Mint Annabel, though Mint put up a fighting squawk. But Mint came back and laid a slate bed for the new schoolhouse chimney that was the slickest piece of rock work anybody had seen in years. Folks had been talking a long time about a new schoolhouse in this location, and now it was started. All 14 Annabels gathered and whooped. "We're going to get that truck," cheered Tuckaleech. He crowed too soon. The Trevitts grabbed pelt tanning, basketry, and pig catching. The Annabels were a point behind. They came up at the Whitland. Ellie Lee made a bear out of pear wood that could almost growl. But Heber and Annabelle whittled and wove a deep chair out of willow switches cut on the spot. Scott Poundstone, a famous chair user, judged it the most relaxing chair he had ever sat in and personally gave Hebron $50 for it. There was no getting around the fact. Hebron's work topped Ellie's. But this time the Annabelles didn't shout so loudly. The fair was almost over and they could still lose. In the last event, which was a dressmaker's contest, a scrubbed, glowing Silver Moon Annabelle stepped forward. Granny's pulse gave a kipper. Silver Moon was in a swishy, crisp dress of that material that Granny had given her. A dress that was pretty as a bunch of asters with a rolled neck, snugged waist, and flary skirt with square pockets. The slim young girl was easily queen of the show, and that's what Scott Poundstone crowned her. Dark-eyed Esther Pulaski was named Maid of Honor. There was a rush for Silver Moon for the dance that followed. Lazarus Pulaski reached and grabbed her first. Tuckalich clamored for the seat of the truck. He climbed so fast he fell and skinned his face. Whispered Bide to Granny. Engine blocks cracked wumping that tree. I've looked. What have we done to Tuck? Quite a lot, replied Granny comfortably. Like I hoped and prayed we would. Go or stay, how will Tuck ever das ask for corn again from his neighbors? The Annabelles lost their pride and dander, but now it's back. Look how they hold their heads. Tuck saw the two plotters. He waved from the wheel. Great day, weren't it? Over the field came Silver Moon and Lazarus. Pa, said Silver Moon, and faltered. It's like this, sir, said Lazarus. She doesn't want to leave the hollow. He fumbled for words too. Take your time, said Tuckalich. We ain't leaving yet. But say, us Annabelles taught the holler a few things, didn't we? Something wrong with this truck, anyway. Granny plucked Bide's arm. Let's you and me go have some of that lemonade.